Good morning. Welcome to Navigate STL Schools of Podcast. I'm Anastasia, and I'm here with Ryan and Tenelle, the host of Souls of Liberty podcast. They are also 2009 and 2010 graduates of Metro High School. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah, can't complain.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you guys for being here. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, like in your podcast.
I'm Tenelle, born and raised in St. Louis, North Sider. Went to Metro High School, graduated from there, went to Mizzou, and now I'm currently a graduate student at SLU. I coach basketball, and I'm the athletic director at Metro High School. Also, I'm in a group called Souls of Liberty. We some of the best rappers ever born here, outside of like Nelly and them, you know what I mean? And yeah, got a podcast with my homie that's like my brother. We grew up together. And so we just building community right now, doing what we can to give back to the places that we spent the most time.
Yeah. And like our show is just kind of us documenting what's on our mind at the time. We got some to where like we did Metro versus McKinley basketball game. I think that was like our first show or whatever. So it was like his first time coaching that rivalry game. And so we like documented that. We work with different creatives in the city like Tyler Smalls to create like campaigns around like our fundraiser that we got going for Metro. Yeah. And so our show is just really about our life for real. Like, it is a podcast, but it also could just be us sitting around not doing nothing.
Yeah, we would do it anyway. We just put the camera on. You know what I mean? We be talking all the time anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about your K-12 journey. Like, where did you guys start off and how did you end up at Metro?
What's funny is, I guess,
that's how we met.
We went to every school together. So we St. Louis public school babies through and through.
Our backyards touched. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we were neighbors, basically. And so I went to Washington Montessori for kindergarten through third grade, and then I went to Euclid Montessori for fourth through fifth.
Euclid, baby.
Yeah, all the schools pretty much. Because the Montessori used to be 3 schools, so you had the branch, you had Washington, and you had Euclid. And now I want to say it's just Washington Montessori.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure it's a Montessori school anymore.
I
but
think it is.
It's still a Montessori school? Okay. Yeah. And then I went to those schools because of my older cousins. They went to Montessori as well. So I just was kind of following, doing what your big cousins do. But then from Washington, I ended up going to McKinley, which was, I guess, an accelerated middle school. I guess
ain't no guess. It was gifted.
But I'm saying, like, that's an accelerated middle school.
Yeah.
And then from there, the feeder school was Metro. I actually was supposed to go to Gateway. And then last second, right before summer school started, they was like, "You still want to go to Metro?" And my mom was like, "Yes." So I went to Metro.
Yeah. My path is similar, except I went to the branch. But I also had a cousin that was 6-7 years my senior that went to Washington or whatever. So I started at the branch, which is like on Ridge, a couple blocks south of Woles, if you're familiar with where Woles is. Then I went to Washington. That's when I met bro on the bus stop or whatever. And I went to Euclid. I went to all 3. And like I said, he a year older than me. And they was like, and when I was in 4th grade, they tested me. It was told me I was reading on the 12th grade level and that I should probably go to McKinley. And then he went. So I just followed him. And same thing with Metro. And then he went to Mizzou. I was almost about to take a basketball scholarship somewhere else, but he was like, "Come on, bro, you got to," we was rapping, we was doing stuff. We had a little clout at the time. So I went down to Mizzou and realized I had a lot of love up there already. So I followed him up there too. Yeah.
So this is just not even on the script. As a fellow gifted child, like, how was that experience for you guys coming up as young Black men going through these accelerated programs and being told in 4th grade that you're reading at a 12th grade level and things like that?
It was interesting because you only yourself, so you don't really got a reference point on like being a different type of person. Like you said, we were always exposed to older people in our household, so I guess being accelerated was just being normal for us. But it has its ups, its positives, and its good things. Like, in one hand, you get praised. On the other hand, if you mess up or do something, they're like, "Oh, I thought you was smart." Or, especially being in a hood environment where it's like we go into these gifted schools where it's like primarily people who come from good families or, middle class homes. And I'm just this hood baby up here that's just smart. You know what I mean? So it was an adjustment socially, but I adapted.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't actually take school like seriously until probably I got to college, because like I said, my older cousin is just like a genius. So it was like she just got straight A's all the time. So it was like I feel like nobody thought I was gonna do that. So it was like I was just kind of able to be myself within it. So I was lucky enough, like Washington, it was a black school still. So it was just like I had black teachers. I went to school with black kids, and Montessori was an accelerated program in itself. You know what I mean? So then going to McKinley, I went to McKinley with people that I went to elementary school with, and then kind of like he said, like more friends of mine that were younger ended up coming wherever I was at as well. So it's like I was the older one out of the group, and like younger people usually follow me. So it was just kind of like I never really looked at it like, oh, we're gifted, we're this and that, because like he said, it just was like I was just kind of being myself along the way. I feel like other people, like because we were very much so athletes too. So like that was very much so going against the grain for athletes to like prioritize school first, because like people don't do that here for real. And so I feel like that was more of what I felt, not really getting the opportunities for that, and like people kind of downplaying our athletic achievements because we went to Metro.
Yeah, that I would say it too. Like high school is when it became more of a difference too, because it was like you really not thinking about nothing when you a kid, but once you get to high school, people start clicking up, and like you said, people tried to overlook us athletically, and then even in the neighborhood, we not nerds. Like we are, but we not. We don't come off socially like your typical academic person. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely an adjustment for me too. Like letting people know, like, no, we really do hoop, we really rap. We were like an oxymoron almost, you know, for what the box people want to put us in.
For like 15 years ago. Now, I feel like it's not as big of a thing, but like before Spotify was out, it was like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You want to rap, but you're smart. That's why I want to rap.
I mean, listen, the lexicon is there for you. So talk to us about your experiences at Metro and how they informed like the ways that you guys give back to the school now.
I would say that Metro was really profound because it allowed us to kind of find ourselves. So like during that time, I would say like being a black youth was changing a bit because of social media, and it was transforming. And so it was like we didn't have lockdown at our school. We didn't have a bail at our school. Like we talked to like our principal. We called our principal by his first name, and that was something that was already set precedent in the school before we got there. But that was like the traditions for it. So going from a school that had at the most ever probably 300 people at one time, and then for me going to a school at Mizzou that had 30,000 people, that was a piece of cake, because it was like, nobody really tripping off me for real. All I really gotta do is go to class and go, you know what I mean? Where at Metro, it's like you're under a microscope, for better or for worse, you know what I mean? But I feel like it prepares you for the responsibility of the next step of school. I can't say necessarily all the way for life, but if you wanted to continue and go to college or junior college or even a technical school, I feel like the time management and like the social academic pressure at Metro prepares you for that for sure.
Yeah, just to add more detail to that, like Metro doesn't have D's. So 70 and below is a F. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you said, we had off-campus lunch. And then also you dealing with you in a competitive environment, because now everybody is smart. When you used to just being like maybe the smartest person in your class and just being able to chill out. Now it's like, oh, he going to Harvard, he going to Yale, she going to Wash U. So it was definitely, like you said, prepared you for college, because my high school was harder than college. Like I feel like Metro was harder than most people undergrad. And all the people I know that graduated say the same thing. Like it was easy leaving Metro because it was so rigorous. It was so much pressure, like you said. So I think Metro saved my life really, because I got exposed to a top 40 high school, and that's something that a kid from off Shreve don't get to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of just fell into a situation. And also, Metro was started by a black woman that graduated from Sumner with my grandfather. So I felt more of a connection to the network because I actually know these people and the role they played in our life. So
it really was like kind of something that you made me think about. Is like at that time for Metro, it was, and this is a conversation around college period, but like it was looked down upon like students who went to public schools, because it's like it's Metro and everybody should go to XYZ, you know. But like I know for my class in particular, like 10 of us went to Mizzou, and that was like just unheard of. But like we lawyers now, like doctors, you know. I went to the J school, graduated from there, so it's like it's all about kind of like your mentality and what's right for you. And I feel like Metro taught us that, because it's like I probably could have went to another school. I would have had maybe a more fulfilling athletic career, but like I feel like I wasn't going to the NBA. So like being able to read and learning like those soft skills was much more important at that time.
Also, it allows you to fail. Like, a lot of people don't live in reality now. Like, even on the athletic side, I got to learn how to win because I didn't have everything. I didn't get to have a new weight room, the beautiful floor, all of that stuff. But we still was out here competing with these people and doing what we had to do. So I think it made me tougher as well, mentally. Yeah.
That's a lot. Like, so discipline, a mental and physical toughness, ability to overcome adversity. And now you guys are doing scholarship programs, teaching, athletic directing. Like, what all are you doing in terms of like your community give back that is related to the school? And do you feel like that just speaks to the ways that you were treated while you were students?
I think we realized, we both lived in Chicago for a while. And so coming back home, we got to see, better or worse, what St. Louis has to offer. And like he said, all of these people that we grew up with, thank God that all of us are doing good in life. Like, it ain't too many people on the streets, So I realize how important Metro is and how we need to help the next generation, because we're gifted adults now. You know what I mean? And these gifted children need us. It's like Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying? If Dumbledore don't come back and mess with the young wizards, how that next generation gonna be able to do what they need to do. And so that's the space we in now. And just from helping, we trying to just fill the void and give them what they need, because if this the number one school in the state academically, they deserve to have the best. They shouldn't have 1997 tables and 1997 books. And I think people don't realize Metro, because they're not a Title I school, they don't get a ton of funding. They don't get a lot of money. And these other schools like your Chaminades, the Ladou's, Clayton's, the schools they compete with have so much more opportunity and access, and we still on par with them academically. So it's like, what if we had new computers? What if we had a brand new facility, a nice floor, sports and things that these other schools had? It would only enhance the school.
That's really interesting. So you're talking about, just from your perspective, I've had this expanded worldview and now I know, and I'm in a position to be able to give back. What do you think is the role that the alumni and the community play in the success of a school?
Yeah. So like for us, we started a GoFundMe to raise $20,000 to fix our gym floor, because it's like warped right now. And we play that role of like having been there, knowing what it should be, even if it wasn't that for us. And, we're working. We're adults, you know what I'm saying? We're citizens. So it's just like we have to just give back. You know what I mean? Like, that's just part of the responsibility. And even if it's $5 every year, it's $5 more every year, then I feel like people was giving back for us. And I feel like because of what we did athletically, we met a lot of alumni that way. Like, a lot of people came back to us and was like, wow, Metro never competed like this, or I never saw the school kind of look like this in this manner. Like, I'm proud of y'all, because we couldn't muster that up, or we couldn't get organized enough, and nobody was willing to coach us or do whatever. So it take like our coach was my dad, you know what I mean? So it take a parent to kind of step up. So now I try to volunteer in that way. You know what I mean? Tenelle literally went back as the athletic director at the school, coaching the boys basketball team. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you got to give what you can. I don't know what they can give. They might give, somebody at Metro might be like, "Dang, I got $1 million." I don't know that. You know what I mean? Only they know what they can give. And that's what we all just want, is for them to give what they can.
But if you don't give, just so people know, like, Metro could die. It turned 50 years old last year or whatever. So it's only in its first 50 years, and we seeing schools all over the place dying. Like, Sumner is not in the state it used to be, the first black high school west of the Mississippi River. And it's like, those alumni bases on appearances, it's a lot of people that went to Sumner in these different schools, but it's like, so why is it dying? Well, the truth is, y'all moved away from the community, y'all went to the suburbs, y'all doing better, and you take for granted that it might not, it can die. You know what I mean? And so that's what we want, a call to action to those 50 classes. I have many classes that have come out now. We got a civic duty to give to that next generation, and those places that are thriving are doing that. Wash U down the street, they have an endowment. That endowment comes from who? The alumni. You know what I'm saying? To make sure things are up to standard.
But
so
I feel like the problem with that, especially and I hope that other public schools do the exact same thing that we doing. You know what I mean? Take advantage of like tools. Like GoFundMe is just a tool that we decide to use that everybody can use to give back. But it's like, oh, well, it's a public school. I live in the city. I pay taxes. But it's like they need more help.
Yeah, they not allocating the taxes the way it's a lot of corruption.
You know
I'm not gonna get myself fired, but I'll just say I'll be a whistleblower of sorts. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of corruption that goes on in our town. You know what I'm saying? And in the world. So yeah, just have a direct impact, and you see it in the students. Like shout out to my boy Amari. He at Howard now. He led the state in scoring last year, and he a kid that a lot of people on face value would have felt like, oh, he not a real athlete, he not this and that. But when you get put in an opportunity and you get that cultivation and that love from your elders, it means something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think is the biggest change that you've observed in the community, the students, the curriculum, XYZ at Metro from your time versus now being adults that work there and volunteer?
I would say the mental health aspect. Like when we was in high school, you got an F, go cry, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was not as much of a coddle, and not to say it's nothing wrong with that. I do kind of feel like it needs to be a happy medium, from where kids are at. I'm glad that they able to voice their opinion now. But that's the biggest change is just like these kids went through COVID. You know what I mean? We experienced 9/11 when we was little kids or whatever, but I can't imagine what it's like to be a kid and your world stopped for a couple of years. So socially, I feel like it's been a lot to adjust to getting back into the flow of having school.
Yeah, and I feel like just the temperament of our city and just culture is just different. Like you said, like when I was it's a difference. You're in elementary school, like the music that you listen to, the music that your big cousins listen to, what the kind of stuff that they're into. You know what I mean? So, I think that like I've just seen St. Louis culture. And just as a city, we've just changed. Mm-hmm. I can't even say it's worse, better or worse, because it's like I grew up with people that was doing some wild stuff too. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it just has changed. I can say that.
Yeah, the social media aspect too. Like I couldn't imagine being able to FaceTime my girlfriend when I'm 14 or being able to, even the ways in which I would have probably cheated in school. You know what I mean? It's just so many more opportunities to do so many things. And I think for young developing minds, it could be overwhelming. Because you so focused externally on things instead of like development of yourself and your character. So it's a lot more distractions and dangers.
Yeah, that is very true. What advice do you have for kids that are really struggling with how do I balance social media and sports and, influencers and school and home and mental health and physical health and all of these things that are coming at them? Because you're right, like when we were younger, like you played a sport or you were in an activity, you did your studies, and then maybe you could go hang out with your friends at the mall on the weekend. Maybe watch some 106 in Park. Like we had a lot of things happen, but we weren't as overstimulated as these kids. So like, what advice do you have for the students that are like, I want to focus, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do that and still actively participate with my peers the way that they are engaging with the world?
I would say, because I probably was an stimulated kid online like them. I was just like the first version of it. To just chase your passions and have discipline. Because it's like no matter what, even without social media, people was distracted. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It was always something to pull you away from what you really need to be doing. Especially as a kid. Especially, I could say, for kids that are chasing something academically. Mm-hmm. So it's like, chase what you're passionate about. Because now in the world, like, I wanted to be a film director when I was in high school, but it was like, well, you can either go to USC or NYU or do something like that. Well, that's really your only options, really. Versus now, I could make a film with a phone and do XYZ. So it's a lot easier to pursue things that you're into now. So if you really got something that you're into, you need to pursue it because that's your life, And then just have the discipline. If you know when you need to go to bed, when you're tired, you know what I'm saying? Like, they not stupid, you know what I'm saying? No matter what school they go to, you know what I'm saying? Kids know when they're doing right and wrong, you know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things that you just have to have discipline, but you also need to be passionate because there's nothing worse than being a young person and you don't care about nothing.
I would say know yourself and strive to live in line with the truth because now social media, you following everybody. Be a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be so caught up in what everybody else doing, especially with me being in the schools, like by middle school, everybody fake grown and living out they trying to be like millennials. You know what I mean? And
don't know why. Don't sign up for this.
we didn't get to watch Jay-Z or Beyonce 24/7. We just saw them when we did see them. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, oh, well, what's her makeup routine? How does she clean her house? How does she organize her closet? It's so much more stuff, like you said, to take in, and you need to be more focused on you. Not to say you can't learn from all this information. I would like to say, like, they don't know, in my opinion. They are aware of a lot of things. And you got to know yourself to learn your process of how you want to learn and carry forward. But be a leader.
Yeah, it's a real big difference between watching things to learn how to improve your life or your routine, and then watching things to learn how to emulate and become something different. As a person who's working in an actual school building, interacting with kids on a day-to-day, what do you think parents should consider as they're preparing the kids to apply for a school like Metro, or to get ready to take that next step into like middle and high school?
To really be in tune with your child's needs and where you trying to get them to go. Because I feel like a lot of parents are doing the same thing the kids are doing. This is a weird time where the parents and the kids are on a similar frequency where we imitating and chasing other people. Like, I coach basketball. Everybody kid, not Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? The circumstances around his ascent is not your circumstances. So a lot of people want to go chase names, but is that what's best for your child? You know what I mean? Is your child, do you want them to go to Harvard, or are they really prepared to go to Harvard? Or they, you know what I mean? Are you cultivating that for them? And I think that's the biggest thing I see. Parents are chasing different things that they haven't done their own research on. And every place isn't for you. Metro isn't for everybody. But you need to find a place that's the best fit for your child and focus on your process together. Also, don't helicopter parent. Like I see, and I don't have kids, so I don't want to be judgmental, but let your child fail. Let them make mistakes. I think a lot of parents are trying to, like, make sure their kids are coming off a certain kind of way, and it's like when they get in the world, the reality is they not that person without you. You know what I'm saying? So let them fail, let them grow, and just be there to support them.
Yeah, like you said, I think just being honest with yourself and with your kids. Like, everything is not for everybody. So it's not like you have to go to Metro to be successful. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do anything. You know what I mean?
It's your story.
So it's just like, yeah, just be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? And trust your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll let you know what's working for them, what's not. But you got to know when to push them. Like he said, like, when to push them, sometimes when to fall back. Because it's like, it's a learning lesson, and we're preparing them for the next stage of their life so that they can be on their own, and be productive citizens. You know what I mean? So
also be active too. I ain't saying don't be active in your kids' life, because those are the extremes where it's like you got the parents who doing too much, and then you got the parents who you don't even know who their daddy is or who their mama is, and that could be dangerous too. Because if they being raised by Chief Keef and them online, you might not see those signs when they go to school every day, but they got real ops and this, that, and then you on the news like,
what happened?
Yeah, he was such a good, you know what I mean? So,
and he was, but those influence, like we said, those distractions, like, they can be more than that.
So you guys talked a lot about balance, and I think one of the things that I would really like to end on the last question is you are artists, athletes, and academics. How were you able to cultivate that and build a life from your teen years through adulthood where you were able to maintain a balance between those passions? And was that something that you actively worked toward? Because a lot of people feel like you got to choose. Like, you could be smart, or you could be good at sports, or you could do art, or you could do maybe two. But, like, how do you guys manage this idea of doing all three into adulthood in a way that is, I'm making assumptions now, but in a way that's fulfilling?
Wait, hold on. Okay, good answer. I'm 32. I'll be 33 in October. Sheesh. I just now figured it out. So from when I was doing it from 14 to 32, I didn't have the balance. I was doing this more than that. When I was in college, I was doing more college schoolwork than I probably wanted to. When I got out of college, I was probably needed to do more and get more involved back in athletics and do certain stuff and use those skills and talents. And then I had the music stuff, and I was just moving around. So it's just like, I'm just now getting to a point to where I'm finding balance. You know what I mean? So, like, that's why I kind of mentioned the discipline and the passions, because it's like, if you're passionate about something, we'll be disciplined around it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's the only way that you're going to be fulfilled in life. to try to find some type of happiness. Like, you could go out and get a job, but if you don't like it, what's the point? You know what I mean? Because like I said, you could sit around and look at charts all day and make money. You know what I mean? With stock, crypto, you could do that. Making money is not a secret like how it used to be. You know what I mean? So it's just like, how to find that balance, like, it's failure. Because you got a bump to know where the wall is, where not to go, and what to do, what you do like, what you don't like. But if you kind of pigeonhole yourself to like an image or somebody that you following that's not you, or what your friends say, or this and that, then you'll never really grow in the kind of way and learn what is and what isn't for you, you know.
Yeah, I think our friendship or our brotherhood helped me remain confident enough to stay on my journey and path and like break cycles, you know what I mean, that we've been stuck in or for generations with our families and stuff, because Kobe is smart. Michael Jordan is smart. These people aren't stupid. You know what I mean? Like, all of that is just like fake real. It's a lot of assumptions, a lot of boxes people try to put people in. But Damian Lillard can rap. People might not love his raps. You know what I mean? But you just got to be yourself. It go back to that self piece. You got to know who you are and just don't take no for an answer when it come to your growth and development. And it never stops. You could be 75 and still be growing. Otherwise, what's the point of you being here? Trees keep growing. They 100 years old. Mm-hmm. So... yeah, as far as the balance, like he said, it's tough to find balance, but you can only find it from further knowing who you are and continuing to go down the path and following your passions.
I think that's really important. Like, you don't have to know. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to have an idea of where you want to be at and be disciplined and passionate enough to do it. All right, my last question is the last question I have for everybody. What gives you hope about the future of education and the young people in St. Louis? Or you can say what you think parents should really take into consideration if they want to apply to Metro.
Well, if you want to apply to Metro...
for their students.
For the students.
Yeah, not for
Metro
you.
in particular.
Don't do it for yourself. Don't make your kid go to Metro for you.
Yeah. If your child is up for the challenge, it's easier than it's ever been, really. You just have to be proficient in your state tests, not have any extreme behavioral problems, and have a B average or above. You know what I mean? And then you can apply, and from there the process will continue to go. But I got hope in the future, because if I don't, it wouldn't be no point in getting up every morning. And I meet kids who are good people and genuine and looking to grow and make change in the world. So I'm hopeful in the next generation.
Yeah. I would just say that, like, kids still have that youthful, creative energy. So it's like, it gives me hope that they're still energetic when they live in a world that they could not be energetic to be participant in, you know what I mean? And so, like, Gen Z is the future of what America is going to be. You know what I'm saying? All the kids are going to grow up online like them. All the kids are going to have to deal with pandemics and crazy stuff like them as young children. Like, they are the blueprint for how children are going to be moving forward. And so it's like, I have a whole bunch of friends now that went to Metro that I just never would have met, that I'm like 20 years older almost and stuff like that. And so, like, that if I'm able to connect with them and they're able to look at me and see something within themselves too, that gives me hope. So, you know.
Thank you guys so much. Also, if you're interested in applying to attend Metro, the St. Louis Public Schools magnet application process is going to open up on October 2nd of 2023 for the 24-25 school year. And there's only going to be one pool this year. So make sure you get your application in before the first part of November. Thank you guys so much for listening to Navigate STL Schools, a podcast. Have a great rest of your day.
Go Panthers.
Peace. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys.